Eli Thompson was just a 10-year-old boy when life began to show him its harshest side. His mother, Rebecca, had left him in an orphanage when he was still a baby, and the only thing he had left was his grandmother, Grace. She raised him with love, but the difficulties of life were never far away. They didn't have much, but they had each other. Eli found solace in one thing: music. His grandmother had always told him that music could heal the soul, and as he grew up, he discovered the truth in her words. Every night, after finishing his chores, he would grab his old guitar and sing in the alley behind the orphanage. He sang to forget the pain of abandonment and to make money to help his grandmother, who was fighting a serious illness. One day, while Eli was singing his heart out on a street corner in Asheville, a man named Mr. Carter, a kind-hearted restaurant owner, noticed him. He was amazed by Eli's voice and offered him a chance to perform at his restaurant, Smoky Hill Grill. Eli couldn't believe it. It was the opportunity he had been waiting for. But while his talent was undeniable, Eli's heart was still heavy with questions about his past. Who was his father? Why did his mother leave him? Why did life seem to be so unfair? Over time, Eli's performances at the Smoky Hill Grill became a tradition. He would sing to raise money for Grace's medical bills. His voice became a beacon of hope not only for him but also for everyone who heard it. The restaurant's regulars came to love him, and he became a symbol of strength in the community. But the truth was, Eli never stopped wondering about his past. The mystery of his father's identity lingered in the back of his mind, and despite everything he had achieved, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Months passed since Eli left the orphanage. He now lived with Rebecca in a small blue house with a flowered porch in the Biltmore Village neighborhood. It wasn't a mansion, but to Eli, it was paradise. He had his own room, books scattered across the shelf, a new guitar given to him by Mr. Carter, and most importantly, someone waiting for him at home every day. Grace's surgery had been a success. She was still recovering, but she was already walking slowly across the porch, taking care of the flowers and listening to Eli sing. Her smile was peaceful, as if she knew that life had given her a second chance. Eli continued singing at the Smoky Hill Grill on Friday nights. Each performance was a new emotion, but something inside him told him he needed to go further. He began writing his own songs, lyrics that spoke about abandonment, reunion, faith, and dreams. His compositions deeply touched everyone who heard them, especially one called Coming Home, which went viral on the internet after being posted by a tearful tourist. The unexpected success brought invitations. A producer from Nashville took an interest in him. But along with the invitations came fears. Rebecca, despite her pride, was torn. Was she ready to let her son go again, this time by choice? And Eli? Was he ready to face the world after everything he had been through? At this moment of uncertainty, a new character emerged. Josh Bennett, a music producer who had lost his daughter to cancer. When he heard Eli sing, he felt that his art could heal. Josh approached him, not as a businessman, but as someone who understood the pain of loss and the power of music. He became a silent mentor, guiding Eli with sensitivity and respect. But the past, as always, still held its secrets. One day, Grace asked to speak with Eli. With a trembling voice, she told him about his father, a man named Daniel Harper, who had disappeared before even knowing Rebecca was pregnant. No one knew his whereabouts, only that he was also a musician, and he shared the same dreamy look as Eli. This revelation sparked a new flame inside Eli, the desire to discover his roots. He began writing a song called The Name I Never Knew, where he poured all his pain and hope into the idea of one day finding his father. That song, raw and sincere, became the highlight of his first open show at the city's main park. More than 500 people attended. Grace in the front row, holding a handkerchief, Rebecca, holding hands with Josh, and Martha, crying without shame. When Eli finished, there was silence for a few seconds, and then an ovation that echoed through the hills of Asheville. It was the beginning of something new. Eli's story wasn't over yet. Now, it was he who was guiding his own narrative. He didn't seek fame, but truth. He wanted to sing so that other orphans, other remorseful mothers, other warrior grandmothers would know that there was still hope. That pain could bloom into art, and that every lost soul could, one day, find its way home. Months had passed since the big show in the park. Eli's life had changed. He now attended music school in Nashville, traveling on weekends to Asheville to visit Rebecca, Grace, and his friends. But something was still missing. A void that not even the stage could fill. His father's name, Daniel Harper, still echoed like an unfinished note. It was as if there was an incomplete song inside him, and it was on a rainy afternoon, while organizing some old sheet music in Josh Bennett's studio, that Eli found a clue. It was a black and white photo, hidden inside an old vinyl showing a young musician with a guitar, smiling at the camera, with the name Danny H written on the back. Josh froze when he saw the photo, his eyes filled with tears. This man, he played with me almost 15 years ago. He was amazing, but he disappeared suddenly without explanation. His name was Daniel Harper. Eli's heart raced. It was him, his father. Josh made some phone calls and reached out to old contacts. He found out that Daniel was living in Memphis in a shelter for veteran musicians who dealt with trauma and loss. He had withdrawn from life after losing someone he loved without ever knowing he had a son. Eli traveled there with Rebecca. The trip was silent and tense. When they arrived, they found a man with distant eyes, gray hair, and a battered guitar on his lap. When Eli introduced himself, Daniel trembled. His hands went to his face. He couldn't believe it. He cried, as if he were cleansing his soul, and for the first time, Eli heard his father's voice, weak but true. "I've waited my whole life for something, and I didn't know what. Now I know. It was you." They talked for hours. Eli didn't want to know about the past with anger, but with compassion. He understood. Pain can bury people alive, but music can bring them back to life. Back in Asheville, something special was prepared. A one-of-a-kind show at Smoky Hill Grill, with everyone who had walked alongside Eli. Martha prepared dinner. Mr. Carter reopened the stage. Josh tuned the instruments. Grace, already strong, decorated the hall with flowers. And Rebecca wrote a letter which she read on stage, saying that life had given her the chance to fix what was once broken. Eli and Daniel climbed onto the stage together, father and son, two voices, one guitar. They sang together for the first time a song called Home Is a Song. The audience cried, not from sadness, but from beauty. From redemption. It was as if every note healed an old wound in everyone there. In the final scene, Eli sat on the grass next to his grandmother, watching the sky as the sun set behind the mountains. Rebecca and Daniel were talking in the distance. Martha laughed with Mr. Carter. The town seemed at peace. Eli looked up at the sky and whispered, "I don't know what the future holds for me, but now I know who I am. And I know that, even in the midst of pain, it's possible to find love, forgiveness, and a new beginning." The screen fades to black, and only his voice remains, softly echoing. "Pain taught me how to sing, but love taught me how to live."